Hey, good morning. I'm sitting here. I just wanted to share this only because it maybe will relieve people of the stresses they might have if something goes wrong technology wise when you're heading into a hearing and how nerve-wracking it can be. But it's always going to be okay. So I don't want, I'm presenting this just so you can know how okay it will be. So I'm waiting here for a hearing that is starting at 11 o'clock. It is now 11:04, but I'm very familiar with the judge's prior hearings running overtime and not being ready. So while myself and my client in his location are all online ready for the hearing, in the MS Teams platform, waiting for the judge to click us out of the waiting room into the meeting, the hearing room, that's where we're at right now. But what a morning it has been. So I tend to be, I make sure all my technology and everything is going fine hours before the hearing. That's just my way of doing it. And I was working till about 8 o'clock last night and technology was all fine. So this morning, maybe like 2.5, 3 hours ago, I am checking in on my internet and all that good stuff. And there's none. I try rebooting the router and the cable thinger, and I am not techie with this stuff, and no go. So there's zero internet. I ended up, so I called the hearing office is open because now it's after 9 o'clock. And I spoke with the judge's clerk, who's very nice. And I explained that my internet is, for whatever reason, not working. And while my client will be there with his internet in MS Teams, I won't be able to do it. I had tried to do it on my phone too, because a lot of people do it from their phone. For whatever reason, my phone wasn't letting me get into MS Teams. So I don't even know the techie part amongst all this. So, and it might just be that, I don't know. I was trying to download the MS Teams app on the phone, all that. So, which is something you should do well before your hearing, if you're having a hearing and you're using your phone. So I call, I spoke to them, and yes, I would probably be allowed to be on phone, which is what I expected, because if techie goes out during the middle of a hearing, which is not unusual, everyone's in different locations, people have different weather patterns, you just never know. Sometimes it's the cable company or the internet company, satellite, everyone's on different things. They're very familiar with, okay, so I'm gonna, if everyone's in consenting, I will call so-and-so, the judge will call, or the assistant will call the person who can't get online, and they'll testify, or in my case, I'm not testifying, I am directing or crossing and overseeing on phone. So that was fine for me. And that was what we were going to do. And then after I got off, because I do prefer to be there and have face-to-face with my client and the judge, I called the internet cable company that provides our internet, and they helped me walk through what was the problem. I'm not even going to say what the problem was because it was totally on my end, but this is just to let you know that this stuff happens. And there's always, short of the phone not working and having no communication, they're always going to, if everyone's in agreement, facilitate getting this hearing done. That's important for everyone in all the parties, and especially the OHO and the judge. So as long as everyone's in agreement that one person can go on to phone and not be on the MS Teams like originally agreed to, and we all did that in writing, they're really accommodating to do workarounds to make it all happen. So I just wanted to let you know. So I did get the internet all fixed up and ready to go. And it was something on my end, not by me, but by a little wireage that went awry over by where the internet and the cable all connect. So anyway, we got that figured out with the nice guy that was on the phone through the cable internet company, whatever you want to call it. And it was all good. And, because he can go in there and check which thing's off, which thing's not working. And we were checking how many plugs are in and all that stuff. And a lot of this is kind of concealed behind some other things. So we were able to figure it out. And I was relieved because I do want to be on the MS Teams. But anyway, so that's like some of the hecticness that goes on before the hearing on anyone's side. It could be the attorney side or the non-attorney rep. It could be it could be you, the claimants. But never let the panic of it get to you. Make your phone calls, get in touch with the OHO, always have their number so you can. They generally, I want to think it's after 8:30, you could generally get through. There was some time periods when you couldn't get through at all. That's a little traumatizing. But anyway, so we're good to go. And hopefully the judge won't be running too late. But I wanted to squeeze this out in advance because I thought it was not rare. It's not common, but maybe once a year. So it's not common, but I wanted to share it with you so that it can let you know that there's never a reason to get overblown about it. Just take the steps necessary, call and communicate, make sure the OHO knows, see if there's an access where you can just change to phone. Yes, you agree. And probably at the hearing, she will confirm that you agreed to being on the phone. When I got everything back up and running, I called back the judge's clerk and said, I think we're back and running. It's all good. She's like, okay. You know, if something were to go awry, like weather, we did have a little bit of windy weather, but it looks to be good now. Things can go out in the middle of a hearing too. And the judge will also tell you in the beginning of the hearing, if for somehow due to technology, things, you know, something goes wrong, we will go off the record, get everyone back up and running, and then they continue the hearing. So it's all good. Everyone's kind of on the same side on that. All right. Ciao, guys. Wish us luck. Bye now. Okay, so this is an add-on after the fact, very shortly after, but I wanted to make sure it was clear. With the MS Teams ALJ hearings, which are a godsend, I have to tell you, it's been one of the silver linings to the COVID pandemic, believe it or not. What's wonderful about it is everybody who has a smartphone can do an MS Teams hearing. There is an app that they download, and you can get the directions on the facts that you have to do that in the actual email that the ALJ's office, the OHO, is going to send out after everyone's agreed to an MS Teams hearing. That tells you, here, if you're on a phone, you have to download this. If you're on a laptop or a computer, it's different. And they give you all that information in that email, along with the links for downloading, for getting into the hearing. Normally, I just have to click on the link to get into the hearing because I do it on my computer. The other options, of course, are you can have a phone hearing. So if you, and this is not my preferred way, that a claimant does a phone hearing, but if that's something you need to do, you can. And that's part of that. The forms that they give you is where you get to pick. And that's shortly after you have appealed for an ALJ hearing. They kind of get that information down pat as soon as they can. If there are some people who insist on an in-person hearing, that's permissible. I don't know that in the way everything runs, that is at all necessary. I'm not sure it's helpful. I think it really depends on the situation. Let's just say it's all neutral. It doesn't matter one way or the other. But now you are, perhaps you're driving an hour to your hearing, then you're waiting an hour in the waiting room because you're going to get there early, right? You're going to make sure you get there, no flat tires. When I used to go to in-person hearings all the time, I gave myself like an hour and a half. It would take me over an hour to get there, but I'd make sure I was there an hour and a half early. You know me, if you know me by now, you know I'm pretty anal and type A about all of my cases. So I'd always get there early. I'd have my clients be there extra early also, maybe not as early as me, but certainly within the hour. My goal was to grab a private room that I could abscond with my client for the hour or half hour before the scheduled hearing, so we could go over any last minute details. And this is subsequent, of course, to a couple days prior when we do our prep, where I explain all the steps of the hearing and what's going to happen, and any questions that they might be asked, so they could be familiar with it and have given thought to the answer. So this is after that, when you don't expect anything, but you just do want to have some loose ends. And that would be at that in-person hearing. Now that things are technological, same thing with the pretrial, anywhere from an hour and a half to 3 hours, usually that meeting we have a few days before the hearing. But on the day of the hearing, I call them a half hour early to make sure everyone's, as I say, alive and kicking. You got your computer on or your phone ready, and you've gone in there and you've checked out that that link works for that hearing, even though you don't have to be going live at that moment. And that's how we make sure nothing goes awry. And it was my whole routine that I do because of technology and the fact that it can be sketchy. is how this whole thing today was caught in time and remedied, and we don't have any issues. But just so you know, you can have your hearing however you want. MS Teams works great. I would highly recommend it, particularly when the OHOs are very, very understanding of tech problems. Because sometimes the tech problem is at the judge's location, because she or he is generally working from a home office. So we all know how that is. We don't have the big tech team behind us, ready to come in and work miracles overnight or in a split second. So it all worked out pretty good, and it's nothing to stress about. 15 years ago, I stressed about all this stuff. All right. I will talk to you later. Hope that helps everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.